Gone are the days of formal etiquette. So, what should you do in the maddening social situations you face every day? This is No Etiquette, the podcast where we address modern etiquette questions in a nonsense fashion. I'm Vivian Lee, coming to you from Singapore, and joining me is my best friend Sophia Bose in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Hi, Sophia.
Hi, Vivian. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I'm excited to talk about topic we have for today, and that is Petiquette.
Petiquette? This is great. I'm very excited.
Oh, I'm glad. On the excitement of this topic alone, we have launched into this episode. I think I was beginning to think, so let me back up a little bit. We were talking about how there was a time I was trying to get to know a new person, and I really did not know anything about her in any fashion. And somehow the only thing I had gleaned was that she had a very lovely cat. And the cat's name was Cappuccino.
Sounds delicious, although maybe not the best thing to say about a pet. I know this is a pet peeve of yours.
Well, it's not. Is it a pet peeve of mine? It's like deliciousness.
No, the fact that everyone wants to eat your rabbits.
This is true. Okay, we're gonna get into that of like no etiquette pet responses. But I'm someone who thinks food names for pets are adorable.
I
think many people do. And we'll talk about the eating issue later. Forgot about that. But this person had this lovely, brown cat named Cappuccino. Adorable, lovely. And I realized that was a great way to launch into conversation with this person. And it made me think of one of my favorite novels, which I've talked about before, The Elegance of the Hedgehog.
Yes.
Which I keep forgetting. Have you read it? Or have you just heard me talk about it?
Parts of it, and I don't think I've ever I'm in a very confused state about this book. I've read quite a lot of it from stuff. So every time I open it to be like, oh, have I read this before? It's like, oh, I remember this. So this is kind of like The Lion King. Like I said, I'm not sure how. I've seen so many snippets of The Lion King, but I don't think I've ever watched it. So
all the way through.
I'm in that spot. I'm in that spot. I don't think I've seen it. What's the word?
Sequentially.
Sequentially, correct.
Yeah.
But I think I've at this point read all of it.
Okay. That's a category. I'm sure I have some things like this where sometimes it's like famous movies or something that you've heard about and then you finally watch the whole thing in one go. So someday you'll have the experience
I'll read it
of
start to finish sequentially.
And you'll actually know what the plot is. It's actually a book that lends itself okay to being read in snippets because it is a little bit, it's not episodic, but it is, it sounds miserable. Every chapter is a sort of little philosophical treatise on something, and then you join it together and you can see that there's a plot that gets developed all the way through with character. I mean, it's one of, I say it sounds terrible because it's the kind of premise for a book that could be such a tedious read, and the whole thing is just a delight from start to finish. Anyway, one of the many great nuggets from the book is a chapter where they're musing about pets. The concierge is musing about pets and talking about the kinds of pets that people have and are expected to have at their social station, and how for kind of low class concierges like her, they expect the concierge to have a poodle, like a grumpy ugly poodle who's bad tempered. Okay. And this is supposed to be the symbol of the concierge. And she talks about the very wealthy people who live in the apartment who have these lovely, regal, but very anxious pets with grandiose names. Whom there's a great line about one of the cats is named Constitution. I think it's there's a political figure who owns this cat. Their names are, it's really Parliament and Constitution or something are the names of the cats.
Oh my goodness.
And she describes Constitution as when this cat so much as farts in the wrong direction, it is taken to see the vet. And you can see that people have worked out their anxieties through their pets. But ultimately she concludes that the pet is the totem of the person who
Ah.
owns it. It's the
Mhm.
emblematic symbol. It tells people who you are. You put a lot of
Mhm.
yourself in the pet.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I think that is largely true. I think there is a way that pets, like driving, reveal our real
Mhm.
selves. Have I told you about my driving theory?
No, tell me about that.
I think when a person is driving, that is their truest self,
Ah, I
their
like
driving
this.
personality.
I very much like this.
Hmm. Um,
You
and
know,
so,
Vivian, this is
yeah,
quite wise. I quite like this.
I think it's good because it really shows what you're like, and both behaving with other people and kind of in isolation, right? Because you're in your own car
Uh-huh.
and you're not really often dealing with the other people. So how you act
Uh-huh.
is very much how you would simply act, unaffected by
Yeah.
others. Um,
Mm.
so okay, so anyway, pet is totem. I
Uh-huh.
began thinking like, oh, I think of course there's ways that you are not your pet, but I think the way you treat your pet and the way your pet turns out has a great
Yeah.
deal to say about you and who
Yeah.
you are.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
the etiquette around that is then like, what are the correct ways to interact with other people's pets? What are
Mm.
how polite is it to project the person onto the pet and assume that they're the same person?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, what are impolite, ill-mannered ways to talk to people about their pets? I can think of some, but that's where I begin.
I
Petiquette.
really like this. This is great. No, this is great because we have this for children, right? Like, there's certain things you just do not ask somebody about their children.
Mhm.
I can't remember them from the,
Yeah. No, I'm so glad you
outset. Like,
mentioned children because I think that's the perfect analogy of like it's an easy conversational topic, but you don't
mhm.
want to, for example, judge someone's parenting style. And you also, I think that is one
Yes.
of the worst things when other pet owners judge other pet owners for what they're
Yes.
doing.
Yes.
Except
Yes.
in
Yes.
obvious situations of abuse or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
No, no, no. I think this is I want to hear your thoughts. Like, do you have specific ideas for what would be I have some, but yeah, like what would be poor etiquette?
Well, I'm glad you remembered the example of people wanting to eat my pets because I always forget this one.
It
Or
really impacted me,
rather,
by the way,
did
when you
it
said that.
when I
Yeah.
complained about it?
Yeah, because I was like, "Oh my goodness, they're so cute," and because babies are so cute and you want to eat babies. Not you, but there's that phenomena where something's so cute you wanna bite it.
I
And
I
so
I hear people do that one baffles me with babies. I both get it and I'm horrified. Like it, I know people when they say, I want to bite your cheeks or something, they don't really mean it. But
oh,
why
no,
did
no,
it
they
even
mean it.
occur to you?
No, no, no. No, no, it's real. It's about no, no,
It
no.
is.
Oh, it's real. Oh, it happens to me. I want to bite cute things. This is a real scientific thing. We can I can send you a link later. There is a feeling that happens when you see something that is very cute in which you want to bite it. It is a real scientific phenomena. It happens. Like when I see a very, very cute baby, not every baby. I don't want to bite every baby, but there's certain babies that like my teeth start to like quiver. I don't want to eat the baby in an intellectual sense, but like your body doesn't know how to take in the cuteness outside of eating it.
Why?
Why? Again, I should look this up and tell you. There's a scientific explanation for why this is.
Yeah, that's
I
okay.
don't
I want the
remember.
nonsense, like,
Oh,
secondhand
oh, the nonsense
scientific
secondhand.
explanation. Just whatever stuck with you.
I will tell you, for me, the fact that I feel it so viscerally
Yeah.
made it
Yeah.
that when I read that scientific article, I
Uh-huh.
simply did not even remember what the reason was because it was irrelevant. Because
Mm.
I feel it, like, I don't need to know that, like, I didn't need to understand why, it already just happens.
Yeah, I
Um,
get it. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay, so 'cause I don't have this at all. It has always baffled me when people say, I want to bite your little chubby arm or something to a baby. But with my pets, it is a little different. So I have two rabbits. They're lovely and cute and adorable. You've
mhm,
seen many pictures.
they're absolutely
And
adorable.
other pet owners, especially owners of cats or dogs, actually, it doesn't
Interesting.
matter. I'm thinking of some people in
Uh-huh,
particular, but
mhm,
numerous people have
uh-huh.
said something like they make eating your rabbit jokes, like, "Oh, what a cute rabbit." I show them a picture and they go like, "And if you ever get hungry, you can just eat them." And
Oh my gosh, that's
I
bad.
knew this was a thing that happened a lot because I used to foster rabbits, and
Mhm,
the woman who sort of was in charge of the organization and fostered the rabbits would, sometimes they would go to not shows, they would go to like the kind of meetup where people could meet the rabbits and adopt them and so on in a not
Yeah.
in a selling way, just like a good what do you call it? Like an adoption drive or something. Like a
Okay.
good way
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
people to meet the rabbits and then consider and see if
Mhm.
they're a good fit. And she
Yeah.
said she would always get a ton of people being like, "Oh, you're gonna eat these rabbits?" for no reason, like unprovoked. And she would get so indignant about it. And I realized
Yeah.
people don't do this to other pets. You don't go like, "Oh, you're gonna eat your dog when you get hungry."
Although this is we're in a political time where I don't know how much, Vivian, have you been following the US presidential campaign stuff?
In as
Uh,
small doses as I can that are still necessary. Is there dog
okay,
eating stuff going on?
correct. Dog and cat, there's pet eating rumors that have happened about people in Ohio, which is apparently not true. The immigrants are not eating the cats or the dogs, but
Mhm.
this is the story that's
It's a
been
trope.
told.
It's a trope.
Oh
These
no,
like
they believe
right?
it in a literal sense.
Oh yeah. But it's a trope about immigrants of
I did not know this. Really?
oh really? Yeah.
I
It's
thought
one
it was
of
just like
yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
trope.
It kind of like if you want a reason to hate immigrants or people who are foreign to you or different from you, one of your things is it's just your food is so weird and foreign, and the most extreme version of that is you eat pets, like dogs
That is
especially.
bizarre.
Yeah,
This is
I
not
mean it.
something I'd ever. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, it's a whole thing, but we take it as a sign of like inhumanity or something, right? Like
Mm.
how could you do that? But it is astonishing how many people do it to rabbit owners. And
I am
yes,
so sorry.
rabbits are eaten in some kind. It's still it is a thing. I get it, but also like
It's
to
sorry.
make a joke about eating someone's pets is
Yeah,
poor etiquette.
I would say so. Okay, you're right. Okay, I mean, depending on the relationship you have with the person, whether or not you really mean like, there's many other there's many components to this, but in general, baldly telling somebody you want to eat like their or that they should eat their pet. No, that's terrible. Bad etiquette.
And it only seems to happen to rabbit owners because rabbits are prey animals. This is my theory that people know that rabbits are prey animals, so they prey on the people who have the prey animals because people do not eat
Oh.
fish. People don't go like, "Oh, you're going to eat your fish." You never hear that, right? And people eat fish much more than people eat rabbits.
This is true. Oh, this is great. No, I mean, great in the sense that this is something I haven't quite thought about this.
Mhm.
Uh, what about people that have like chickens or like ducks or cows or
Yeah, I don't think you hear people making or birds, right? The people who own birds,
yeah,
whether
like yeah,
chickens
like
or otherwise. I don't think you hear it, but you hear it all the time as a rabbit owner.
I'm so
All the
sorry.
time.
I am so sorry. That's no good. So I have a question. How do you respond
Mhm.
to that? What do you say?
I don't humor it. I think I just sort of go like, and I don't go down that road. And they fall in my estimation.
They fall. Okay, okay.
They fall.
Yeah. No, of course they would. You don't
Yeah,
go up to somebody with a child and say, "Well, are you gonna eat it?" But like, yeah, no, I mean, it's a human, so it's a different. But still,
different, but
um, bad,
that's
bad,
low
bad,
pet
bad.
etiquette. And then the other
Very
one, like
low.
you said, is yeah, like judging people for the way they take care of their pets.
Mm, yeah, that is low pet.
But I do think that pets, as I was thinking about sort of the totem theory, probably
Hmm.
tell you a lot about yourself or the person who owns them.
I think so.
I think I'm both like an anxious and laid back pet owner, and
Mm.
this seems to map onto my personality.
Anxious and laid back. That's it.
No in between, no average day.
I love how so this reminds me a little bit of this is going to be a very short deviation, but essentially I was trying to like move some shades off of a skylight
Mhm.
and my brother-in-law was helping me and he's like an engineer and like for some reason the way it's tilted like I needed some help with precisely where I needed to push to get the thing out. And I remember there was one specific moment in which he said, "You have to push and pull at
Mhm.
the same time." And I remember thinking, like, this is defying language. Like, how do you push and pull at the same time? Which, by the way, is possible. I did do it and it worked. But this is the thing when you're saying about like a bunny, like anxious and laid back at the exact same time. It's like
Mm.
it sounds so at odds, but I'm sure it like most perfectly makes sense too.
I think it's just the way world. I think you just maybe I don't know about the pushing and pulling. I think the anxious and laid back, you just alternate at high speeds between the two.
Oh, it's not
I don't think you
simultaneous.
can quite be them at the same time.
Okay, okay, yeah. No, you couldn't.
Yeah. What is your experience with Petiquette?
Um, um, the one I'm thinking of is I think what you were saying, sort of judging people on how they, so like for example, when I had cats, we used to let our cats, they were indoor outdoor,
Mhm.
and there's definitely some judgment from people that were indoor only. There's all these statistics about like, and such.
Mhm.
And actually, more than you would think. Like, there's probably fewer indoor outdoor, like in America at least. I think in Europe it's a little bit different. So I think that's one of the things. I really like your totem theory, which is why I think it's a great sort of conversational like entry if there's somebody new, because
Mhm.
it's a safe way for them to tell you about themselves while enjoying it,
Mm.
because like they like to, you like to talk about your children and your pets and such.
Mhm.
You're also disclosing about yourself, but from just a slight distance. And the other thing also is that like pets have such real personalities. Like they have this like
Mhm.
humanity to them
Mhm.
that like when someone would ask me about one of my cats, or this cat died, but when someone used to ask me about Max, for example, I remember like in my head, it would be like this, like Max had this humanness to him, and I really felt like I was describing like a person. And so yeah, like I think I appreciate thinking of Petiquette as a thing to consider in a conversation. Like Petiquette is important because it's easy to make a comment that's like offhand and can come across right, because like there's a weird simultaneous way in which you both like honor your own pets a lot, and it can also be difficult if the other person's pet is different. So say you have a dog and they have a rabbit, or you have a dog or one has a dog and the other person has a rabbit. You'd be like, oh yeah, you're gonna eat your rabbits, like, not thinking that like if somebody were to say, hey, you're gonna eat your dog, like,
Mm.
it's somehow that disconnect,
Yeah.
there's a disconnect there,
Yeah.
despite
Yeah.
you feeling like, yeah. So
Yeah.
it's just, yeah.
Yeah. It's a way to realize that we as a species, right, are both the same
Mhm.
animals in some ways and different animals in other ways.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like thinking
Yeah.
of the pet as a sort of almost an envoy of
Yeah.
this is my representative. If I am to send
Yeah.
someone, if I want to send someone that I will talk about, an aspect of myself that I
Yeah.
will send forth, it will be
Yeah.
my pet, which I never
Aw.
thought of consciously when I was getting rabbits. But I
Yeah.
think it's sort of like this is an aspect of me and my domain that I can share with you
Aw. Yeah.
or something. Um,
Um,
did you
so
ever
do
read
you know
the historic materials books?
yes, I did, and like the what how's it pronounced? Daemon? The
Yeah, I don't know.
daemons?
No one I've ever met knows how to say that word.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think that was my favorite concept from those books.
Yeah.
Um, I've only read the first one very thoroughly. The next two I don't
Mhm.
know as well, but
Yeah.
I loved the idea that there would be your animal almost familiar like
Yeah.
representative.
Yeah.
It was both similar and different from you.
Yeah, the difference part
Maybe
was
yeah.
really interesting.
The difference part was very key, actually.
Yeah. It's quite yeah.
That may be maybe that's the bond we have with our pets also, where
Yeah.
surely over time it's both you grow to be alike because you live together,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
you remain different because you are different. And
Mhm.
sometimes that's very funny when, when
Yeah.
you you hear stories about people like they adopt the dog because they think it's going to be chill and it turns out to be very hyper or something, but
Yeah.
that's like charming to them, over time.
Right, right. Yeah.
It's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like this
Yeah.
is what I enjoy about the way you turned out unexpectedly.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but good conversation topic. Good way to learn something about
I agree with you. This is actually quite now I think I'll make more of an intentional, uh, effort to engage about people's pets, because I have friends that have pets, and I actually quite don't usually inquire about the pets. Like, there's one friend of mine I have who I think the past 2 or 3 times I talked with her, I just didn't ask about her cat.
Mm.
the Petiquette is very real in her life, so I'm not sure why I haven't.
Okay, this is what this conversation is leaving with me with is more of an interest in, and not I'm not trying to instrumentalize the pet. The pet is its own being. We're very clear on
Mhm,
this.
mhm.
But I kind of want to ask questions that will help me get to know the person through the way they relate to their pet.
Mm,
I want to get to know the pet better, and I want to
yeah,
know something about you from the way that you've interacted with this
yeah,
pet.
yeah. I went quiet because I just kind of had, like, a realization about, like, again, the same friend who I don't ask about her pet,
Mhm.
she described feeling a certain way about herself, and I just
Oh.
realized that, like, the way in which her pet lives her daily life
Mhm.
kind of reflects what she said, and I didn't
Mm.
make that connection until right now because I was thinking of
Yeah.
what you said about mm,
Yeah.
this is very relevant.
Can I ask what it is?
Yeah, so I think, I think my friend was saying she felt a lot more disconnected from herself,
Mhm.
um, and her her cat spends a lot of time outside,
Oh.
and and ha yeah, like, a lot of time outside, and mostly because, this friend of mine has, like, a child who, tends to sort of yank at this cat's tail and sort of harass it in various ways.
Mhm.
Um, but I think, and whenever she travels, she leaves the cat with,
Mhm.
with
Yeah.
a friend of
Yeah, yeah.
hers, and
Yeah.
so it's and usually when she's traveling, you know, there's a sort of duty-bound reason for why she's traveling. It's not necessarily
Mhm.
for pleasure. It's like to see
Mhm.
family or
Mhm.
so yeah, so I think I just made this connection in my
No.
mind.
I mean, she herself may never have made that connection. It's kind of
And
fascinating.
yeah, I don't think she has, and I actually kind of don't want to ever point that out to her.
Yeah.
It's the worst.
It's
That would
quite
be poor
revealing.
Petiquette.
It's quite
That's
revealing.
it's very revealing,
It's like,
right?
are you ready to be told what your pet says about you? Which sounds like a great quiz that I would take, I guess, but it's
Oh,
quite.
you know what? And you should write this at some point when you have time, which I know you don't now, but, like
But actually now I we started this sort of in a lighthearted way, but it's a little, if I were to really look, if I were to just go in with the premise that what's going on with your pets says a great deal about your own life because they are very much shaped by your life, of your habits and your ways.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh my god, yes. Oh, we could go on. I mean, like, I'm having all these sort of realizations right
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, this is good.
Ah, well, that was deep.
No, I
That
mean, it's good. I'm glad you asked that question. It's a good one.
the beginnings of Petiquette. Well, okay, so from
Mm.
this, we have distilled an alarming question that you can ask someone when you get to know them, which is, what do you think your pet says about you and the way you are? And watch their face change the way ours are changing right now. It's more revealing than I realized. And it's amazing that in a day to day life, it's not something we give that
Mhm.
much thought because you just go about your day and you take care of your pet and you don't really take a hard look at what it
Yeah.
says about you.
Okay, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Would you say it's poor etiquette to instead of asking the question, "What would you say your pet reveals about you?" If you were
Mm,
to say, like, "What is the personality of your pet?" Or, like, to ask questions that are not, um, that are sort of like, like, "What are the daily habits of your pet?" Or, like, "How does your pet like to be in the world?"
mhm.
Is it bad to ask that question versus, "What does your pet say about you?" Because for the former, you're sort of gonna make judgments about it without necessarily telling them. The latter, you're very clearly asking them to articulate what they think
Do you mean it the
similarities
other
are
way
between
around?
them.
Like, if you're just asking
Maybe,
pet
yeah.
habits, that's the one
You're
where
just asking pet habits, but in your head, you're thinking, "Oh, I'm gonna map it onto their"
you're
like
gonna yeah,
yeah, like, is that
yeah.
poor etiquette?
I don't know, we're gonna have to try this out.
Alright.
You and I, we're gonna go out in the world, we're gonna find pet owners. We're gonna try
Okay.
both methods out.
So the next okay, you know what? I take Vivian, I shall do this. Next person who I speak with who has a pet, I will ask
Yeah.
one or
One or
either
the other.
yeah, one or the other. This will happen. We'll report back.
Yep. Alright,
Okay.
Petiquette. Cool. It's good to have pets. It's good to have to share your life with someone who's the same as you and different. It's good.
Yeah, it is. I agree. Yeah, I don't have any because I don't think I can take care of them. I know exactly what this tells me about me. Oh. there's two pets I want, Vivian. I want a giant dog, and I want rats.
A rat?
Rats, correct.
Rats,
plural.
yeah. Like little mice, right? You quite strongly identify with little mice, and you like
mice or rats, either or.
Yeah.
So I want both of those.
Mm-hmm.
And neither I feel I would ever actually in my real life. I feel like too much work, but those are the two I want.
Currently fits your lifestyle. Yeah. Those are good. Yeah. I think I have the pets I want. 2 rabbits who are mostly pretty chill. Affectionate, but chill.
So cute. Oh my goodness.
It's good. It's good. Pets tell you a lot. Well, on that note, if you have Petiquette questions for us, we would be thrilled to take them on. Please email us at noetiquettepodcast@gmail.com. Thank you so much for joining us. We will see you next time here on No Etiquette. And until then, it is good etiquette. Ask them about themselves, because they're probably going to be thrilled to tell you and send their pet out as their representative in this world. We will see you here next time.
Good night.